Hello and welcome. My name is Amber Beebe, and today is our virtual cooking class. And Jennifer, yes, I switched the slide to our title of today. I apologize. I would feel the same way. Like, wait, did it start? um, and we are always trying to start right on time at 11 o'clock. We appreciate all of you that come in early, though, because it does help kind of just make sure you are able to connect, because I know we've had some issues in the past with people connecting. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We do want to let you know, in case you have to leave early or in case you have friends and family that want to see these classes. I know there's videos everywhere on YouTube for meal prep and quick meals, but we are recording this class and it will show up on our St. Luke's YouTube channel in about a week. We're pretty good on turnover. I mean, at the latest 2 weeks, but usually it's a week. And so today's class is very exciting. Couple of my favorite recipes of all time, and I didn't know until, uh, we did the practice 2 weeks ago, how awesome it was. So we've got basically, it says 15 to 30-minute meals, and I think maybe one of them might be close to 30, the salmon, but they are quick. I think even the 15 is a little long on a couple of them. So we've got one and done, and I'm sorry, 15-minute meals, quick ideas, and we've got 4 of them. So we're really excited. That's almost a full week. We can't really fit more in an hour. And so that is what we're going to be doing. We've got a couple meeting reminders. You guys are all experts. Obviously, you all have your microphones muted and know that we are recording. Good news is all of your faces are blurred out. So if you decide to put your video on, maybe to ask a question, or maybe I'll be asking a question later that you want to respond with your video on, none of it will be shown on YouTube. The only person you'll see on YouTube is me and our chef, Jen Hosier. All right, I'm going to hand it on over to Jen. We're going to get started.
Hey, everybody. Happy March. Welcome to the bariatric cooking class for this month. And yeah, we're getting down and dirty. We're going to do it quick. We're going to get in, we're going to get out. Let's just get this thing, this dinner thing done, right? So that's what we're going to be doing today. Like Amber said, we have 4 different meal choices for you. And we'll talk a little bit about a couple little, adjustments that you can make to personalize it more for you if that's what you would like to do. Certainly feel free to ask questions. If there's anything that we don't say that you wonder about as far as something different that you could do instead. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to start out with a bowl. We've got a teriyaki salmon bowl. So it's going to be our first one here today. And the nice thing with salmon is it does tend to cook pretty quickly. If you cook it too long, it gets really, really dry. And it's okay, but it's not very good that way. And so what we've started out with here is first I preheated my oven to 400 degrees because again, we're trying to do this pretty quick. And then what I have here, just to try and show you, is I've got some salmon fillets here. So they were frozen, I just thawed them out. And the instructions say to just kind of brush on some teriyaki sauce, salt, and pepper. Or what I did this time, just to see if I can lift up the flavor, is I soaked them in some of the teriyaki sauce while I was doing and prepping the other things. If you actually can throw them in an hour ahead of time, if you're home that early, and you can throw them in while you do some other stuff, and then you're getting dinner ready, that's a nice way to do it because you will have more flavor in them. But whatever. Either is fine. So I soaked them for a little bit, no more than 2 hours, by the way, for salmon. I know other meats you can soak longer in the marinade and they're fine, but they start to get a little frizzy around the edges and it starts to actually break down the meat and then you have kind of mushy salmon. So you don't want to do more than 1, maybe 2 hours in the marinade. So just for the sake of planning, you'll want to make sure you keep that in mind. So I prepped these on a really nice big piece of parchment paper so none of the juices flow through. So we also hopefully have pretty quick cleanup at the end. And I'm going to go ahead and pop these into the oven pretty quick. I mean, probably about 8 minutes or so, because we do not want to overcook the salmon. I put them in for, I think, 12 minutes when I was doing the test run. And Amber was like, Jen, way overdone. So we're cutting it back to 8 minutes. And I'm going to set a timer. Oh, there we go. So we're going to get those into the oven. Okay, and I hear we have a question already. What is it?
Skin or no skin?
Oh, okay. Great question. These have the skin on. We did not eat it with the skin on. So that actually is really a preference thing. So the skin is already on these fillets. It's really hard to peel off when it's raw. So you're going to want to cook them with the skin on. But then at the end, when we flake it, you can just go ahead and either peel that skin off, or you can just kind of flake the salmon off of the skin. We're putting it into a bowl, so we're kind of flaking it up a little bit. There is some nutrition in the skin. Some people like the skin. I think most people are a little turned off by it. So I would say consuming the skin is your preference, but if there is skin on the fillet, it is up to you whether or not you want to take it off, but taking it off after it cooked is definitely the easier way to go. So great question. So the next thing we're going to prep here, or a couple things that we're just going to warm up a little bit while that's baking in the oven, is first our edamame. Okay, soybeans, we like these. All right, plant foods, right? We're a fan of plant foods. Yes, we need our protein, but we like the plant foods too. One of the cool things about the edamame is that it is higher protein and higher fiber as far as plant foods go. So if you're trying to think, oh, I'm trying to get my protein in, but I know I should get some fiber in, and it's kind of hard to fit it all in. Certain foods in the plant world are going to help you out, and edamame is going to be one of those. It's not a super high flavor, so it tends to kind of blend in largely with other things. We're just going to warm it up. It's going to just kind of fall in with the other flavors that we're going to put into the bowl. But because the salmon is cooked and our rice, which we're going to talk about in a sec, is also cooked, we're just going to warm it up. And all I'm going to do is do this in a pan. So I've just got some plain edamame here. I want this one. We got this at Trader Joe's. So it was fresh, vacuum sealed. There we go, go gadget arms. So this was from Trader Joe's. Although I often, if I'm looking for it, will buy it in the freezer section. So I've seen it at Fred Meyer, sometimes at Walmart. That was kind of touch and go. I haven't seen it at Winco too often. That would be another place to look. Certainly, I'm sure Albertsons. So it's kind of a touch and go thing. But you can just get frozen edamame, and then it's just there for you when you want it. And that way, we don't have to worry about it going bad. It stays pretty good in this guy, but even this will have a little bit of a shorter shelf life in the vacuum sealed than if you get it frozen. And sometimes what I'll do actually is I'll pop them into the pan with some oil, and I'll put a little garlic and maybe a little bit of soy sauce, and I'll just kind of saute them up until they're just starting to slightly brown. And that would be a really nice way to make these if you wanted to, but we're keeping it simple. We're just going to warm them up this time. So just kind of stirring it up a little bit and just gently warming, nothing too crazy or fancy here. Now let's move on to our rice. Do we have questions coming in? Oh my gosh, rapid fire, you guys. Okay.
What can you use besides edamame?
Oh, what could you use besides edamame? That's a good question. I know. Now I'm like,
I would probably use, I could use like a little bit of loose black beans or pinto, because they're pretty high in carbs either way.
That's a good idea. So I'll tell you what Amber was just saying. So she was talking just about another kind of bean, maybe some black beans. You could do some white beans. If there's any lima bean fans out there, that actually would look very similar, but be a little bit different. So that could work really well. I think cannelli beans, because they're pretty simple and bland. But I think you could do any kind of bean, and then certainly lentils. So your beans and your lentils are going to be a little bit higher in protein and fiber as well from the plant world, not as high as the edamame. Edamame is like 9 grams of protein and 6 grams of fiber per serving or something like that. Whereas your beans are going to be close to protein, similar fiber, but way higher in carbohydrates. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it just is. And so we just have to know that ahead of time. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. Probably beans or lentils would be a good sub. Or if you just need to leave them out this time, it's fine too. We've got other stuff that's going to go in here. All right, let's talk about our rice. Okay, so while our salmon is still going, I'm going to talk about this rice. So we've done other rice substitutes in class before. We've done cauliflower rice. We've done hearts of palm, so riced hearts of palm. The rice hearts of palm is, I would say, pretty bland. Amber, wouldn't you say? Like, it kind of takes on the flavor that you put with it. So it's not going to have a super strong flavor, which is nice when you just kind of want to have other things go with it. Cauliflower rice, it's a little cauliflowery, but you can still flavor it. So even, again, if you were feeling spunky and you wanted to heat up your rice, which is what I did ahead of time with this, you could even put a little soy sauce, a little toasted sesame, a little garlic, and kind of saute it up to get a little bit of a flavored rice. You could even do a fried rice and crack an egg in there and stir that in, get a little bit more of that actual fried rice kind of a vibe with it. But we kept it pretty simple with this. However, this is something different. So this is miracle rice. I don't know if you guys have heard of miracle noodles, but they're a little different. They're kind of clear konjac is what they're made of. So konjac root, Konjac. Again, pretty bland if you prep them properly. So I'll show you the label or the packaging here. Wow. Here we go. Go gadget arms. So miracle rice, a lot of people do miracle noodles because again, they can have the noodle kind of feel without all the carbohydrates. So like the rice here, 3 grams of carbohydrate, but 2 of those are fiber. There is no protein, so we don't have that, but we've got protein coming from other additions in this bowl. So it's just a super low carbohydrate way to get that noodle or rice feel. What's really important when you prep these is they do come packaged in water, and the water that it's soaking in will kind of give it a little bit of a fishy flavor. So it has a little bit of a fishy smell that soaks into the water. You want to drain the water off, rinse it really well, and then really you just need to dry it out. So I put it in a dry pan. There's no oil in there. And I just kind of stirred it gently until the water evaporated off. And then I got this at the end, if you can kind of see. So it looks like rice. Can you kind of see it a little bit? Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, it doesn't look exactly like rice, but pretty darn close, right? And it's just going to take on the flavor of whatever we have here in the rest of our dish. So what we're going to do, oh, our salmon's pretty much done already. All right. So I think I'm going to go ahead and assemble this guy here. I think I'm going to give it a go, even though the salmon will be hot. We're going to do it. All right. So we're going to put our rice here in the bottom. This is a really big bowl. I know some of you will look at that and say, Jen, there's no way. Get a smaller bowl. Totally fine. But we've got some toppings. I just want to make sure there's lots of space. So I'm going to put some of this rice here on the bottom. We don't need a ton, but you know, we want a little bit. And then I'm going to put in some of this edamame here on the side. So we got some nice toasty edamame there. Ah, here the salmon. Here it comes. Coming out, people. Here we go. Oh, yeah, definitely smells like salmon. All right. Yeah. That's great. All right. There's our done salmon. Nice and toasty. And then I just realized I'm going to have to try and take off the skin on camera. We'll see how that goes. Oh, this is not too bad. Here we go.
Do you want a fork?
I do want a fork. Yeah. Amber, hit me. Yeah, actually, some of this is peeling off pretty good, but
it should be.
Yeah. They're like some of the healthy fats in salmon is actually in the skin. Thank you.
So arm.
There's a mystery arm that just came in. Just gonna scrape that off here. Normally I would probably wait till it cooled just a touch and then get my hands in there, but it's really, really hot. So we're just gonna kind of go ahead and put that in here. And then what I've got is a couple other ingredients just to kind of zhuzh it up a little bit too, right? We're trying to make this really good, kind of like a nice full meal. So I've got some other vegetables. Normally we like, you didn't see that, that didn't happen. I never licked my finger. All right, so we've got some other vegetables. Cucumber, which I just happened to forget to order this time. Cucumber goes really good in here. And we got some shredded carrots. So I'm gonna put a little bit of that in there. I've got some red, thinly sliced bell peppers. I mean, this can really be kind of whatever you want. It doesn't have to be these vegetables. You can pick. So you can kind of, if you want a different bell pepper, you know, that would be fine. But these are really good. And then some avocado. Really good healthy fats here, okay? And some fiber. So that's going to be a really good addition. Just tastes really good. So we can get a fresh avocado and you can cube it or you can slice it. Or you really want to have avocado around but not have to worry about it. You can also buy frozen cubed avocado, which is what I did here. And I just put it in a bowl to thaw while I was getting everything else ready. If you do that, obviously you want to use it fairly soon. So probably within 24 hours of thawing the avocado, you do want to use it. But I just set that out, or you could set it out in the morning and use it that night when you're actually putting your bowl together. But we've got that. And then if you want, again, to spice it up a little bit, some sriracha, right? We're just going to do that. Boom. All right, here we go. It's coming in. Ta-da! Yeah, and you can't see the steam coming off, but I see steam coming off the salmon and the edamame actually too. So we got a really nice bowl. You can put out other additions if people want to personalize it. They can do that. You could probably do this with chicken if you wanted to. If you're like, Jen, I don't like salmon. You do chicken. You could do another fish like cod or tilapia. Kind of simple. Those have less flavor to them. So for some people, salmon is kind of fishy. But that is our first one. That is our bowl. So we got it all done.
I have a question.
Okay, go. You have a question. You have a question from the peanut gallery?
I'm going to unmute myself.
I'm sorry. I don't know you guys that well. I shouldn't call that. Go ahead. What's the question?
I apologize if it echoes. I want to be able to say the question. Jeanette says, I am one person. If I cut in half, will I still have another serving? How does this dish freeze for a future meal?
I think you could cut this down. Like this recipe calls for 4 fillets. Obviously, you don't have to bake 4 fillets, although you could, and you could just freeze them. You could individually seal them and then just freeze them so you have them ready for the future. I think the only thing that might slow you down a little bit on that would be the fresh vegetable part, because you could have the frozen edamame and just heat that up. You can have the frozen avocado and just thaw that out when you're ready. So I think the only thing would be maybe the carrots and the pepper, the cucumber, some of those fresh things. And then as far as the rice goes, this actually was a pretty small bag. The recipe calls for 2 full cups, which probably would be more like 2 of these. It's just we bought 1. So if you had 1 of these bags, this would probably split well actually into 2 meals instead of just 1. Or you could even save the rest left over for something else you were going to have, put it on a salad. If you had a stir fry a different night, something kind of like that would be totally fine to do. Does that help answer that question a little bit? Yeah, so I think there's some flexibility with that for sure. Any other questions? We're moving on then. Okay, time for commercial break because we got more recipes. Got to make sure we get through all of those guys. So I will see you back in a minute. Okay.
That one, even just us doing it in person was 16 minutes. So that's kind of crazy, right? When I said that one takes the longest out of all of these, and it still was 16 minutes. So that's pretty awesome. Of course, we did have a preheated oven, but we don't usually count that time on our recipes when we say, hey, it was this much and this much. So for our commercial break, we have a nice size class. What I'm going to talk about right now is fiber. So we've got some good fiber stuff going on today. The edamame, one of them, or you could put some beans in there. I think where we forget with our high protein, low carb focus for weight loss is we kind of take the eye off of, we talk about in our other classes, sleep, which will be an awesome healthy living series in May, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, because sleep is just ignored for most of our lives and health, and it's very important. But fiber is one of those things where when you're on a high protein, low carb diet, you kind of go, where am I going to get the fiber without jumping the carbs? And the cool thing about like beans or even a sweet potato or something whole food, you're getting that carbohydrate, but you're getting the fiber. And those of you that have had surgery before, those of you that haven't, I know we have a few on here that have not, you tend to need that fiber, right, to make your bowels go back to normal, have your GI microbiome, your gut microbiome build back. So this next recipe, besides the edamame on the one we just did, we're using a low carb tortilla. You're not on camera, by the way. You just held it up. Oh yeah, she held it up and we can't see you. This one is higher than the one I've seen at the store. So, but what's cool about that is it's a really easy way to get in a lot of fiber. So bariatric patients really struggle with getting 25 grams, right? And that would be awesome if you could get 25 grams. Well, these tortillas, I think, have 12 or 13 in one tiny little carb, low carb tortilla. So, oh, Kenya's here. Yay. Hi, Kenya. Well, you're in luck, Kenya. We recorded it. So even though you missed the salmon one, maybe you're not a fish person. And so we're going to do the best recipe right now. I'm so excited because I'm obsessed with it. And I'm not like a big social media person, but I kind of did a little bit more Instagram scrolling for my surgery recovery. Well, you'll love it. It's super easy. You can figure, follow it on the recipe easily, Kenya. But this smash burger sensation all over TikTok and Insta and all of the places, it's for real. My adult children are loving it. My teenager loves it. Myself, my coworkers, we're all in love with this recipe. And it's so easy. It kind of feels silly how easy it is. So I think we're ready. I sort of see her ready. She usually has this particular signal she gives me, and I haven't seen it. Okay, I'm going to head on back over and give it to Jen here.
We're back in the kitchen, and yeah, we're on to recipe number 2, and this is our smash burger taco. Okay, so it's a smash, a burger, and taco. That's what we got here. And so the smash burger, of course, being a very thin burger, which is going to cook really fast. The taco kind of being like a shell, or not a shell, I'm trying to say a bun substitute, and then we're going to eat it like a taco. So it's kind of a fun one. I really like this one too. I actually made it for my family, and I got thumbs up, so that was really good. Plus it cooks fast, right? So we like that. So what we've done here first is we got our skillet on the stove warming for us. And then what we did ahead of time is we put together the burger mix. So we got a half a pound of burger. And then, of course, we got to have some flavors going into it. Not a ton, some salt and some pepper. You can put a little bit of your mustard in this, although this time we switched it up when we decided to put the mustard in the sauce. So you could do both, right? Either way is fine. But we just mix that all together, half a pound of beef, and then split it into 3 servings. So you'll see here on my tray, I've got my little burger on top of my little tortilla. And yeah, as Amber said, we use some low carb tortillas. So first, I know for you guys who have had bariatric surgery, bready things can be really difficult. They can be heavy. They can be uncomfortable. They can make it tough to get your protein. So there can be different reasons why people tend to avoid some of the stuff or at least minimize it. And we feel like for a lot of people, tortillas end up being kind of a good middle ground because it allows them to have something, but keep the amount really small in the meal. So not only, of course, are these thin, but they're a street taco size. And the one that we happen to use by Olay is the Extreme Wellness. Sorry, I'm going in. Let me kind of see. Extreme Wellness, right? Mm-hmm. Very, very low carb. So high fiber, 0 net carbs. So yeah, this one's stout, right? So it's got 13 grams of fiber in 1. 2. 13 grams of fiber in 2. That makes a little bit more sense to me then. That makes more sense. I know. We were like, holy cow, 13 in 1. These things are tiny. But so 13 grams of fiber in 2. So you're looking at 6.5 in 1, which is still a good boost of fiber just in one part of one meal, especially when you're working so hard to eat, right? So what we're going to do here, I'm just going to press down. I'm going to smash the burgers, right? We're going to smash them. We're going to push them all the way out to the edge. Okay, this is one of those situations where crust to crust is a must, right? You kind of have to think about the shrinkage here. My burgers, when I made it at home, shrunk a lot. I pushed them all the way out to the edges, and they shrunk a lot. So really, really push your burger out toward the edge. As far out to the edge, maybe even a hair over the edge, because it will shrink quite a bit. It will shrink quite a bit. So this should only take you a minute. Just kind of press these guys out. And then we're just gonna slap them in the pan over here. Burger side down, right? So we're gonna cook the burger side first. So that's really important part one, make sure the burger's cooked. So I've got my heated up and boom, right there. I'm gonna wash off my hand. Okay. So this is gonna go pretty quick because it's super, super thin, right? So we don't have to worry about it taking too long. If you have a bigger pan, of course, you can get more than one in there going at a time. Oh, or a flat top. Ooh, yeah. So if you have a Blackstone, you can get them all done at the same time. 5 minutes, boom, you're out of there. But I just have one pan right here, just enough really for one, especially to maneuver it. At home, I had a much bigger pan, so I had 3 going at a time. So that made it go a little bit faster as well. But we're just gonna let this go ahead and do its good work. And while that is happening, we do need to make our special sauce, right? So this is gonna be pretty simple, by the way, so nothing too fancy, but so I got my mayonnaise. I got some pickle relish. This is dill pickle relish, so not sweet, but the dill. And then we're gonna mix in our ketchup, and we're putting in our mustard in this one this time. Again, totally up to you. You can do either, but we're like, oh, you know, you kind of usually there's a little mustard in these kind of sauces. So we're gonna give it a go. We're gonna give it a try. That's how you find out when you like something or don't, right? So pretty much just gonna stir this up. And this is gonna be our sauce for these burger tacos. I keep getting confused. I'm like, am I saying burger first or am I saying taco first? But it's a burger taco. It's a taco made with a burger, so it's a burger taco. Okay, that was it. Sauce done. Boom. Okay, really, really quick. I know we pre-measured that, but it'll only take a minute or so to get that all into a bowl, whisk it up. It's ready to go. So let's take a look at our situation here. Oh, we're getting there. So if I lift up the tortilla, there's still got a little bit of burger underneath that guy. And I'm going to kind of loose it up a little bit. So it doesn't have to be 100% done, the burger part, because we are going to flip it over here in a second, because what we want to do is at least warm the tortilla and maybe slightly brown it just a little bit. And you can just kind of press it down. When I did this at home, my husband bought me basically like a bacon press, right? So I thought, oh, we're doing smash burgers. I'll use that guy. And I took it and I would stick it and I left it on. Don't do that, because then it holds all the moisture into the tortilla. And these are pretty moist as is. And then I would flip it over and the tortilla would get all gooey and then it would kind of fall apart. Not a good move on my part. I was like, oh, but I wanted to use my press. So no, I just smash it down and then put the press off. And that worked out just fine. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and flip this guy over. Bam. Yeah, so a good bit of browning on our burger. And what we want to do is kind of let that warm up, get it slightly bit toasty. We don't want it crunchy because then you can't fold it, right? Or it's going to crack and break. But we do want it heating up enough that we've got it nice and warm and that we are starting to get a little bit of browning underneath. Maybe finish any cooking of the burger that we have to do, although it was largely, I mean, I'd say 80-90% done when I finally flipped it. That's also why you want to make these super thin, because then, of course, we're going to get some really, really fast cooking here going on. I think that's looking pretty good. So we're going to do that. And then I'm going to plate it. I'm ready. Most of the time when I'm doing stuff in this class, we kind of have to take steps to get it all ready and then show it. But look at us go. All right. So we've got a little bit of browning on the bottom. Woo! It's steamy. It looks really good.
Turn it down. I forgot because my was texting.
I did turn it down a little bit.
Because it can really burn it.
If you leave it at the same temperature that you cooked the burger side on, if you're not watching it, you can burn the tortilla side. So turning it down a little bit, or you got to keep a really close eye on it. But mine got browned, but not burned, so we're good. Oh, and I meant to put the onion.
Are you gonna turn the stove off so that we're going to cook it right now?
Oh, I suppose I'll turn it off. Yeah. So you would put the cheese on in there and it would get melty. And that would be the most ideal situation, which I didn't do because I was talking too much.
It's okay.
Clearly.
Don't worry.
Okay, thank you, Amber. Amber's being very kind. All right, so you would have melty cheese. It's fine. And then I'm going to put a little bit of lettuce on that because it's a burger and a taco, right? Both, yeah. And then we're going to put some of our special sauce on. So we're just going to drizzle this on. La, 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 la. Yeah. Oh, pickly and good. Boom. So there we go. And of course, people can dress these a little bit different. Neither of my children wanted the special sauce, which I think is criminal because I think it tastes really good. But whatever, more for me. But they could just do ketchup if they wanted to, right? So you could put some different things in here. But there it is, our burger taco. Dun, da, da, da.
Right. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's a little bright. The lettuce, I think, and the sauce. All right. I think we're ready to move on. Boom. We're getting them done. This is good. Dinner is getting done. All right, people. So I'll see you in a minute. We're going to move on to our third recipe. We'll get cracking.
I want to go ahead and address, Ange had a great question about, is there cheese without milk? And actually, there are quite a few vegan cheeses available that they sell. I know they have them at Walmart, but if I were to get dairy-free cheese, I probably would get it at Fred Meyer because I feel like they just always have it. But now they mix it all in with regular stuff. So who knows? But Walmart, I do know actually at my Walmart in Nampa, it's at the back, like with where all the milk and everything is. It's kind of in the corner. So yes, there are brands like Daya, Daya is a dairy-free cheese. Those would work. And you know what? Technically, I mean, you don't have to have a burger with cheese. One thing I wanted to say, because I love bacon, having a little bacon under that cheese, or in my house, we take little sliced jalapeno peppers and we put them on our burger under the cheese. And then sometimes bacon and jalapeno peppers. And then also some chopped up tomatoes would be lovely in season. Obviously, they're not in season now, so we don't use them. But that would have been much more colorful and beautiful there. But what I want to talk about briefly, because this focus today is quick meals, but then when we have quick meals, we also have to remember, especially someone mentioned they live alone, we have, there's only 3 of us at home. So we have a smaller family because my other kids are grown. So yeah, there are always leftovers. My son calls it meal prep, right? He's on social media. He's like, oh, you have meal prep for me? So whenever we make food, we always have extras, and that's his meal prep for another meal. But the key is, this is super important, and hopefully you can see this slide because I have a tiny screen right now, so it's hard for me. But you want to make sure that you're refrigerating the leftovers, which there will be. We only made 3 smash burger tacos, but if you use a whole pound, you can easily pump out 6, and then you have leftovers, and they're amazing. You want to make sure you label everything. I buy these cool little labels that are removable because you don't want the ones to stay on all your tops and they get all gross. I buy them removable labels on Amazon. You want to, label everything, but the key here is you want to reheat to a high temperature, 165. Some things are really hard to measure the temperature of. Like these are really thin, would be hard to get a thermometer in there, but we're talking they're hot. Too hot to eat is 165. So but it cools down very fast. So you want to make sure to prevent food poisoning, and that is just from not reheating. It doesn't mean that what you made, was bad. It just means that if you don't properly refrigerate within 2 hours and then reheat it to 165, you can grow a bacteria in your fridge. And then if you don't reheat it to kill it, then you can be sick. So we don't want that on top of bariatric surgery. I mean, we don't want it on top of anything, but that's kind of why I wanted to mention it, because I don't talk about food safety a lot in this class. I thought it was important, especially since these are great meal prep. This one that we're doing right now, man, I tell you what, it's good. In fact, you refrigerate it right away. Personally, I like it cold. Am I a weirdo or what? It's so good. But I trust it because I know I put it in the fridge way quicker than 2 hours. So it looks like she's ready already. That's all I get to talk about, which is fine. Okay, we're going to go back over to Jen.
Okay, we're back. Number 3, we're just cracking on through these. So definitely so far, the burger taco is one of my favorites. Although I have to say this one, oh, it's kind of a toss-up between those two. Like, I really, really enjoyed both of those. And it's pizza. I mean, you can't go too wrong. We've got burgers, tacos, and pizza, right? Like, this is probably the best food class we've done ever, right? All the faves.
To talk about with the smash burger tacos, you can even make them taco flavored.
Oh, Amber just said she forgot to talk about with the smash burgers, you could make them taco flavored. So if you want a taco flavored burger on your tortilla,
you can mix
boom.
the like taco seasoning and stuff.
That's so you could just mix some taco seasoning in with your burger and do it that way. So there's choices, right? Yes. We like choices. All right, let's move on to our pizza, right? Okay. So this one is also fast because we're going to cook it on the stovetop. So here's what we've got. We've got a crust made of chicken, right? So we've got some ground chicken, 1 pound of ground chicken is what we have here. And then of course we're going to add in some flavor to really kind of help layer some good flavors all together. So we've got an egg to add a little bit more of that moisture and that stickiness. We have some Parmesan cheese, of course, some salt and pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning, all goes into this. Mix it all together. And then, depending on the size of your skillet, you may want to do one big one if you've got a really good sized skillet, or you may want to divide it into 2 because we do want to press them out kind of thin because they cook faster, right? And then we get to dinner faster. So, and you could put it in the oven. Right? So you don't have to do the stovetop. If you want to do one big one, you can put it on a parchment paper on your baking sheet, and you can go ahead and stick that guy in the oven. Make sure that's cooked. It'll still cook pretty fast because, again, it's thin, but I would say definitely it'll go faster on the stovetop. So either way, whatever you want to do. But what we're going to do is kind of show you what we did with this guy to really kind of give it to that right shape. So we made a dough ball with our chicken crust dough and just kind of smashed it down, and then took the roller and just kind of rolled it out and used the size of our pan as an eyeball to just kind of push it out here to a little under that same size, right? You don't want it too big or it's going to be up the size and it's going to shrink a little bit. You need room around the edges to maneuver it because we are going to flip it. You got this. It's going to be great. So in order to make life easier for you, when you put your crust between 2 pieces of parchment paper, they do come off easier if you oil the parchment paper. So the one underneath and the one on top, if you just rub a little oil or spray a little oil, it's going to peel off way easier for you. So we just put it in between the 2 oiled pieces of parchment paper, smashed it down, and then rolled it down to get it looking, oh gosh, can you see it? Oh, there we go. That's not too bad. Yeah, I can kind of see that. The white is always the worst. So I've got my pan getting pretty hot over here. I'm going to peel off the top. And then we are going to invert, right? Yeah, make sure this happens, right? We're going to take it over here. Yeah, you got it. Boom.
Ange has a question, but I'm not sure what she means.
Oh, okay. So once I got it all flattened down in there, then I can peel off this top piece. So I just made sure that I kind of folded it a little bit so I got it all straightened out. Yeah, so it's in there, it's going, then I can peel off this top one, boom, you're done.
You can't show them.
I
don't think so. We don't want to slide.
Yeah, kind of, I mean, kind of in there.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead, so we have a question, we think?
Ange says, can I use a different protein like Canadian bacon? I don't like chicken pizza. Can I cut up Canadian bacon and use that? Not really.
No, not really. You really need a ground meat for this. So you could substitute any other ground meat. Mm-hmm. So ground turkey, you could do ground pork, you could do ground beef. If you had any kind of ground game, some people, if they, get a deer or an elk, some of it they'll have ground up. But it just needs to be a ground meat because that's really what we can maneuver.
Dough, but she doesn't eat cheese, so we have to do the non-dairy cheese with the almond butter. Hopefully she eats eggs.
Oh, okay. Amber is talking about maybe the fathead dough kind of a thing, but that has a ton of cheese in it, which is great if you do cheese. But if you don't do cheese, then
you could use dairy-free. I don't know how
dairy-free cheese. We haven't done it yet, but you could give that a go. So the fathead dough is basically what it's called online. It's really good.
I'll put it up there.
We've done it before. In a few different iterations, not always exactly the same way, because we've done pizza crust and we've done breadsticks and we've done just some different things. But that one's a really fun one too. I would say, oh, we did Thanksgiving rolls one time. We did Thanksgiving rolls. Oh, those are really good. Like if you want rolls at Thanksgiving, those are a great way to have a roll, but it's like a warm and like kind of gooey. And you don't have to worry about feeling like you just ate a brick afterwards. Because a lot of those regular rolls, they ball up and they just get like a big, heavy, just like a bowling ball in your chest, some of that stuff. And then it's hard to enjoy anything else at the meal, even though you might not be enjoying a lot at the meal, Thanksgiving. It's nice to have a little bit of variety, right? All right. So we're getting some browning going here with our crust. We're getting pretty solid this guy. So you don't want to make sure it's mostly cooked, right? Because we need it holding together enough that when we flip it, it holds together, right? So don't want to flip it too soon. But all the edges are coming off. It's holding together pretty well. I've got some good browning underneath, which will really make it taste good. All right, so remember when you do this, like you just got to go, right? There's no being shy about this. You just got to go. So we're just going to go. Woo! All right, we got it. All in one piece. So boom, we set it down. And we don't need to cook it a ton anymore because it's mostly cooked, but we do need to put our toppings on now, right? So actually we're going to start with our sauce. That sounds more logical, doesn't it? I'm going to use my spoon here. So we just got some regular little bit of pizza sauce, right? We're just going to smooth that around here. And you can go a couple different ways with this. You can just leave it in the skillet and just kind of let the ambient heat melt the cheese and kind of warm up your toppings a little bit. Or if you really want to get a little bit of that like browned, gooey kind of a cheesy vibe, if you have an oven safe skillet, you could just slide it under the broiler for just a few minutes and do it that way. And that'll really help get everything melty and gooey and warm. That's a nice way to do it too. We're going to get a good amount of cheese going on this guy. There we go. We like pepperoni. So we're doing pepperoni on top of this guy. So I'm just going to get all my toppings out. I did turn the heat down. So we've got it still warm, but not on that higher heat that I had it on. I had it kind of like medium high to really kind of get that guy going and get it cooked quick. There we go. And then we're going to do black olives. This is what Amber and I like. I like the pepperoni and the black olives. If I got one, there we go. Yep. Okay. And then we are going to put some pickled jalapenos on it. A little kick. We're going to do that. Yeah, it's good. So of course, these toppings can be whatever you like, right? If you just want to do a cheese pizza, just do a cheese pizza. Super simple, super easy. But if you want different toppings like the Canadian bacon, right? So you could do a Canadian bacon and a little bit of some pineapple pieces and kind of get your Hawaiian style pizza going on this guy. You go a lot of different directions with this. But basically that is it. Like we're just going to let that sit there for a few minutes and get a little bit more melty and it's done. And then we'll just kind of slide it off gently onto our cutting board, slice it up. Ta-da, you're good to go. So that was pretty quick too. I mean, it takes a few minutes to get the crust prepped, but after that, everything else, you know, is mostly just kind of ready for you to go. You got to pull it out. Maybe you got to chop a little while the crust is cooking, but this can definitely be a really quick one. Of course, with some of these kind of things, you can mix them ahead of time. So if you want to mix your crust, stick it in the fridge and then come home after work or come back later and you just want to smash it out and get it in your pan, you can do little things like that ahead of time as well. But we're done with this guy. So Amber, I think we can move on to our last and final recipe. All right, we're doing so good. We're just knocking them out. I love it.
All right, everybody. I don't know what is wrong with my Teams, but I cannot add an attachment for that recipe. It is the weirdest thing. So I'm trying to add it because I think it would be cool to try. Well, and we might have to try it with some non-dairy cheese because, and you've got some great, questions. Really, we're so cheese and protein focused around here. We got to be able to accommodate. So I will figure out how to get you all that recipe. Those of you that have been with us for a long time, you probably have it, but I will get you that pizza recipe. Basically, it is with mozzarella cheese, almond flour, and egg, and then spices, right? And it's so easy to make, and it's really good. So, in case you wanted to do something instead of chicken, and that totally makes sense. I didn't used to like the chicken crust until we did this. Until we did this in the skillet, and then I'm like, oh, I really, really like it. So it just really just depends on, I guess, timing. Maybe I just was like, just the timing of it. When you compare it with the cheese crust, at the time we did a whole pizza month, it was like, oh, I really like the cheese crust better because it tastes more like pizza. But this one's good, and it's filling. It's had a lot of protein. I have a 20-something-year-old son who eats the whole thing. He's like, Mom, I ate like 118 grams of protein. I'm like, you probably shouldn't eat the whole thing. It's really good leftovers. So before we move on to the last recipe, we have this awesome picture of all these meal prep veggies and things. I think the bottom line that we're always trying to help people with is really being prepared. And even if you have like frozen vegetables in your freezer, or you have proteins ready, just having that preparedness can be really helpful when you come home from work and you're tired, or you're cooking for one and you're like, I just don't want to cook, right? Just having some options is really helpful. And that's what I do every time I make a big batch. So if it's supposed to be a pound, I make 2 pounds. Like, I just double everything, and then I have lots of leftovers. And I just find that it really helps. Again, we've got our St. Luke's Health System YouTube. That's where this video is going to show up. If you know someone that might like it, you can always share it with them, because anyone can go to YouTube, and then you click on the playlist, and it's actually bariatric nutrition and behavioral health now. So it's a little longer title, because we do have some behavioral health videos on there, some really cool breathing exercises and things. And then we have this new QR code system. We do encourage you to enroll. We have support group. We have healthy living class right now. I'm finishing up a meal planning, and we have a grocery store tour, virtual grocery store tour coming up. And then next Healthy Living is in May, and that's when we're going to do pillars of health: stress, sleep, exercise, things like that we're going to talk about in May. And then I do a gut health in July, which is all about improving our gut health. So these are how you can sign up for all of those classes. And it looks like Jen's ready for the last recipe, so I'm going to hand it on over to her.
Okay, guys, we're back for the final recipe. We've got one more here, and this one definitely is going to be a quick one. This is kind of a great one too, I think, especially if you are trying to cook for one. This is, a little bit smaller. If you really, really can't eat a lot, this probably could be cut into two meals, reheat one for later. But this one definitely is kind of it's pretty quick, and it's just an omelet. Right? So we're going to keep it pretty simple, but we're going to zhuzh it up a little bit, and we're going to have a goat cheese and chive omelet. So I've got some goat cheese here. Actually, I have some dry chives. If you can get some fresh, you can even do green onion. It'll work. But we're just going to talk about how to make an omelet, right? Because sometimes it sounds a little fancy, or it sounds a little harder. It's hard because you feel like you're supposed to flip it and all that kind of stuff. We're going to try and simplify it, make it kind of easy for you. So first, we have to have our eggs. So I've got 3 eggs in a bowl. I just put our 3 eggs in a bowl. I added some salt and pepper. I added the Dijon mustard. It's just 1 teaspoon. It's not a lot, but it just adds a little extra layer of flavor in there that can be really, really nice. Obviously, you don't have to use it, but one of the things that makes recipes just really taste good is when you layer the flavors of things together, when you kind of try to flavor each little part of it that you're putting together at the end. So we're obviously going to add the flavor with the goat cheese and the chives, but we're also flavoring our eggs in the first place before we put them into the pan. And what I've got here is a small pan that's reheating. So it's heating. So not a big guy, right? So about a smallish omelet sized pan right there. And I'm just going to go ahead and pour in my egg. So it is already hot. And like I said, we are not going to flip this. So we don't have to worry about that part. But what we want is we want to first let the bottom of our omelet really kind of start to get good and congealed, right? Because that's what we're doing to it. We're cooking it, we're having it congeal and start to solidify. And then the trick that we're going to use is we're going to start going around the edges and allow the uncooked egg that's still in the middle to start seeping out underneath. That's going to help us to cook this. All right, I'm already getting a little bit of an edge here going. That's going to allow us to cook nearly the entire thing in the pan without having to do any flipping. And it really helps strengthen the edges of your omelet. So all you want to do is like lift up an edge, tip the pan, let a little bit of the other egg flow underneath. So I'm just kind of pulling the edge out and I'm just tipping it a little bit. And that's really all we're going to do for the entire thing. So we are going to get a little bit of a thicker edge, but then we don't have to worry about breaking our omelet either. And that just really kind of helps give you a good, solid omelet that works well in the end. And we're not going to get it 100% cooked by doing this, but that is okay, because what we're going to do is when it's almost entirely done, we'll put our toppings in, we're going to put a lid on and take it off the heat, and we're just going to let it sit. And that is going to finish cooking that last tiny little bit that's there. So, you know, you're probably like 90% done. So I've still got a little bit here in the middle that I'm trying to get. I'm trying not to burn myself on the flame here underneath. That's what I'm trying not to do. Here we go. So just gonna tip, I've just got a little bit more. Just gotta get a little bit more around the edge. Come on, egg. There we go. Right? And we're nearly done. We've hardly had it in the pan for what, a minute or two maybe? And we're almost done. So pretty quick, you know, pretty hot, but pretty quick. Yeah, so I've got just a little bit of egg, just a little bit of moist egg here sitting in my middle, like just kind of like a thin layer of that uncooked egg there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna, on half-ish, I'm gonna put my cheese. So I'm gonna get my goat cheese here. If you don't like goat cheese, it's okay, just pick a different cheese. It's totally fine, but goat cheese is really good and it's a little different. And then we're gonna put some of our chives here in the middle, not too many, but it's green for St. Patty's Day, right? That's good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and remove it from the heat, and I gotta get a lid. I forgot to get a lid. That is the one thing I forgot. All right, there we go. That's it. Ta-da! So you just let it rest, let it finish its cooking. Do so like 2 or 3 minutes to take care of that. And we'll just trap that heat in, and then when you're ready to take the lid off, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and then fold it, and then maybe you top it with a little bit of what's left over of your goat cheese and your chives, or whatever toppings you are putting on your omelet, and then that's it. You're done. So that one actually really is like, if you don't mind breakfast for dinner and you want to go past scrambled eggs or something like that, this one actually works really, really well. If you've got, I don't know, 10 minutes, you can get this guy done and you're out of there, right? So easy peasy on that one. So we're done, Amber. Like, I finished the last one. So I guess let's take a break and I'll pull all the foods back out of here, and then I'll showcase all the goodness, and then we're done.
Okay, everybody. I don't know what happened to my teams. I'm going to have to email you the recipe for the cheese pizza crust. So, and I know you probably want it because you don't like the chicken, and that's totally fine. I'm going to send it to you for sure. But if anyone else wants the fathead dough pizza we use for rolls, we use for pizzas, you name it. We've made burger buns out of it. It's amazing. It's really good. So just let me know if you want that recipe, and I'll send it via my chart because something's wrong with my teams today. And I apologize if I was like trying to put it in there and I never got it in. So yeah, so this is what what my spiel is today is trying to get more involvement in classes. So we would love to have, people can even join. They just have to scan the QR code. Obviously, if they're local, it helps because then, they are in the St. Luke's system. But anything we record obviously is available on YouTube. We have recipes where we've got cookbooks from 2025. Those of you just joining us, we have an entire, meaning like just joining us in March, like you're getting ready to have surgery. We have 2023 cookbook. We've got the fancier ones are 2024 and 2025, but we have them separated by appetizer, main dish, dessert, all that thing. Oh, good. I'm just going to send it to everybody then. Let's see. I've got Jennifer, Jeanette, Jessica, and Ange. I know for sure. So I will go ahead and email it, and Beverly. There we go. See, I'll probably just end up sending it to all of you. And then those of you that didn't request it, you can delete it. Kenya, are you saying you too? Okay, yeah, I'm just sending it to everybody. That's fine. It's really versatile, especially if you eat cheese. If you don't, and you want to check it out with the dairy-free cheese, and I would love to hear about it, only because I don't know when we're going to have a chance to do it. We might have to try it at home in the meanwhile. So anyway, back to the classes. I have had some patients recently rejoin our practice after years ago having surgery. And I think what I notice is that when you stop getting involved and stop coming to the classes or stop coming to support group and things, you get kind of out of the loop and you kind of go back to old habits. So these classes are for you to stay involved. And honestly, we've got like 9 people here today. It's pretty intimate. You can ask questions that are specific to you. You can use it like a visit, really, in a way, if you have specific questions. Plus, we're always available via MyChart. So I can't believe it. I thought we'd be done early. We have 2 minutes left. So she's ready to show you all the recipes, but please come to our classes in our support group. Even if you don't like to talk at the support group, you don't have to. You can just observe. And so there's the QR code for those. And if you're not sure how to do it, go to our website at St. Luke's Bariatrics, and you can sign up there. Okay. I'm headed on over to Jen.
Okay, yeah, we are at the end. I'll totally throw myself under the bus. Amber, it's probably because I talk too much. She probably took the whole hour. That's okay. 4 recipes in an hour. That's pretty good. All right, so what did we do today? We did our salmon bowl, right? So we got our teriyaki salmon bowl right in there. All that good color, a lot of flavor. You can put a little bit more marinade or that teriyaki sauce on top if you want to do that. And then next we had our burger taco, right? Smash burger taco. That's what we've got right there. There we go. Trying to keep it from falling off. Then we got a pizza on our big pizza board. So there is our pizza. I already sliced it up, and as soon as you guys are gone, I'm going to go ahead and start eating on this guy. And then, of course, we've got our nice omelet, right? Hold on.
A little bright.
There, a little bright. There we go. You can kind of see it.
Inverted.
Oh my gosh, this plate is so
Shiny.
shiny. Yes, it's so shiny. But there you are, people. Do we have any last questions or comments before we shut it down?
Jessica asked about the cookbooks, but I answered her on the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks for joining us today, you guys. We appreciate it so much. Thank you definitely for all the questions. We really like the engagement. Makes it way more fun for us when we can actually have some interaction with you guys. I'm sorry you can't be here to join us, but I am going to dig in here momentarily. All right, you guys have a good weekend. We'll see you next time.